Okay, everyone, I want to introduce you to Eddie Page. He is a Pleiadian. And Eddie, you are here talking to our audience. We are not able to go live over the internet. I was hoping we could manage that, but we've got a sign on this Skype saying there's a issue with the internet connection, which we've had all kinds of electronic interference all day. So you think that'll help? Okay, so we're going to turn ourselves off so you can, maybe that'll help the connection. We'll just have to leave it like it is. Yeah. All right, so as I've already given you an introduction, Eddie, I actually read a couple phrases from the letter that you sent me that you sent to one of the people in Tom DeLonge's group, in which you were talking about the just a couple lines where you said some beautiful things, I thought, basically about your daughters and how they reacted to seeing one of your ships, and how people might realize that, you know, that you all are here, that you're walking among us, and I thought that was really beautifully put. So please say hello to the audience. They've been waiting very eagerly to hear from you.
Hello to everybody in England. I've got a lot of friends in England, so it's a pleasure to be here talking to everybody.
So what we'd like to do is, I think you had prepared something for us, so I'm going to let you go ahead and then at some point I might ask you some questions, okay?
All right. I'm going to show something to the world, let's just put it that way. This will be the first time it's been showed publicly on Carrie's broadcast. This is some stuff that was found by me in 1998 in Roswell, New Mexico. Can you see them?
Wow. All right, yes.
These two artifacts came from the actual crash site from 1947. I want to take one of them out. Well, no, I can't take them out because they're sealed. I'm sorry. But anyway, I can't say this is actual material from the craft, but I will say this, that I've had it looked at by some experts, and they don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, other than I know it came from the actual place where the saucer took actually upended in 1947. I'm also going to show you something that nobody's ever seen. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I've been contacted by some people with Tom DeLonge's group that's interested in seeing stuff that I've got. And, well, sorry about this.
Actually, what they wanted to do, they wanted to have you leave these things behind at some kind of lab in Texas and then walk away. Isn't that right?
That is true. That is true.
And that's always very suspicious. As you know, you leave anything with these people, you'll never see it again in the same shape.
Exactly. Now, this picture that I'm showing, can you see that picture?
Yes.
That is an actual black and white photo that was taken 71 years ago today, July 8, 1947. That is the craft that came down in Roswell, Mexico. This is another picture of it. Let me see if I can bring it back. As you can very well see, there wasn't much left of it. And the reason I wanted to show this on Carrie's show today is because, well, I've got some people involved with this now that's wanting to take possession of what I have, but that's not going to happen. And you can see that right there, that being right there, that's one of the deceased grays, later grays that was recovered. Now, I'll show you, as most probably know, that there was 4 beings that was on the craft, and one of them survived. And I don't have, well, yeah, I do have that picture. You can see the picture right there. That is an actual black and white, what they known as J-Rod. I called him Effie. And this picture right here, let's see, that picture right there was taken in 1991 in Dreamland, Area 51. It is one of our crafts. Okay. That is what we call a Varana, sacred blackbird.
Okay, that is what he calls a Varana. And can you put that up one more time, Eddie? Because I think that was on a bit short, and people are going to be very impressed to see this. This is a triangular. Am I correct in saying this is triangular?
That is a triangular craft.
And where is this? Is this at Area 51?
This was taken in 1991. There was a group of us, of my brothers and sisters that went there, and we had one of these crafts come in and went into a hangar so people from various governments could see it up close, including the United Kingdom. This is a sacred blackbird, which we call the Varana.
Okay, now the people that are all walking around there, are those part of the secret space program? Who are those people?
These were scientists and security personnel that made sure that people stayed away, back. These crafts, once they come into the Earth's atmosphere, and let's say they do come down to this level, there's a lot of static electricity. People stayed at a certain area so they could view it, and within a certain time frame, they were allowed to actually go up and touch it, view it. No one was allowed inside it, though.
Okay, now can you talk a little bit about, I mean, it's up to you what you want to discuss here. I don't know. There's such a huge amount of material, but in this period of time we have, which is a little under an hour, we would like to hear from you about you and your brothers and sisters, where things are at now as well. And you have announced, I've announced to them that there's going to be a Phoenix type of sighting or event. And maybe you can tell people more about that.
Yep. Let's go back to 1997. I'm sure everybody's aware of the event that happened on March 13th, 1997 over Phoenix, Arizona. About 14 months before that happened, I announced that it was going to take place. And some people kind of shrugged it off like, yeah, right. And it happened. There's going to be another Phoenix event. That's what I'm going to call it, a Phoenix event. The only thing this time, it's not going to be at nighttime. It's going to be in broad open daylight. And I'm bringing a group of people together, including some media outlets that, well, you want to see proof, you're going to see proof. You're going to see it up fairly close. And I think some of the people within the Vatican City are not going to be too happy with what's going to take place, since they've been let's say, the big cover-up on this for a long time. When will it happen? I don't know yet. I haven't decided on that. And actually, it's not my place to decide. I will be told when it happens, and then I will be given a specific time to allow the group that I've chosen and the group from the Vatican and the government, they can come and see it firsthand. And Kelly, you're invited, by the way.
Okay. So can you tell people a little bit about your father and the visitation of Thor, who is Thor your father?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
Our father arrived here 1957, matter of fact, March 13th, 1957, and met with many dignitaries, including President Eisenhower. He brought, well, I like to say he brought the gifts of the universe here. There was a few stipulations for this technology to be shared. One, all wars had to stop. All nuclear fission weapons had to be dismantled. And man was offered medical procedures that he hasn't even got a clue about today. Transportation modes that man can only dream about. Energy sources, unlike anything that anybody could ever realize. And a creation to bring the world back to the place that it was intended to be one time. And yet, many of the world leaders wanted to follow suit and accept this. But there was others that said, oh, no, we can't do this quite yet because, well, it'll destroy religion, it'll destroy society, it'll destroy everything. Yet my father was very disappointed in their assumptions of what was going to be happening. My father is named Afra Anu Dabah, Thor. And there's a lot of Greek mythology involved with this, but you got to understand something. Mythology came from actual events. And I've told people before, how many would have ever known who was sitting in that backyard in High Bridge, New Jersey in 1957? And it's kind of stunned a few people, but I will tell you this, everybody. Our father's returning, and the year is going to be 2028. Can I give a day or an hour? Oh, I could probably say it's probably going to be in the springtime because spring is renewal of rebirth of everything. Can't be 100% exact on that, but I can be 100% exact that 2028 is going to take place.
Okay, you've talked about something going on, and I just want to remind the audience that you are quite psychic. You were tested by the CIA for many, many years. You were also regressed and did a number of readings in which you predicted things in the future, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and at this time you have said that there's going to be something within the next 2 years. Is this the Phoenix event, or is this the Yellowstone eruption? Can you be more specific?
Well, I can't honestly and accurately say that the Yellowstone event is going to happen in 2 years. I can honestly say, though, there is some bad things taking place in Yellowstone National Park. And when Yellowstone, as I call it, the big dragon, when it erupts, the people in England are going to hear it. They're going to feel it. They're going to see it. The people in this country are not going to like the final outcome of it. Now, what's going to happen in 2 years? Well, we're going to have a Phoenix event.
Okay, so the Phoenix event is sometime in the next 2 years. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
All right. I've got the audience here. Would you like to take questions from the audience, or would you like to give some more information before they start asking you questions?
Well, before they start asking me questions, when I talk about medical procedures, and I don't know if you've told them what happened to me in Vietnam, I won't elaborate it, but...
Yes, I've told them about your amazing recovery. I've told you about how they tried to court-martial you, and then you were acquitted. Basically, given you became an honorable soldier, you were decorated at that point, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I want to show everybody this. I don't know if you can see that. Let me shake it up a little bit. That right there, my friends, is called liquid light. It is a rejuvenating source for our people. This is the same material that I was submerged in and recovered. This is the evidence that people need to look at. For the simple reason is, I will let people know that this stuff here, you don't die. It is a healing properties, and I've not allowed nobody to test it. I've not allowed anybody to look at it. This stuff right here was what I was submerged in. You can breathe with it. It's liquid, and it also glows in the dark. Once it makes contact with, let's say, the physical body, it starts glowing. This is what was brought to Earth in 1957 and offered to man. No more sicknesses, no more diseases, no more pains and anything else. But this was refused. I find it quite absurd.
Okay, so you went on the run from the CIA. I have told them you worked for them for 10 years. You became disenchanted with their policies and the lies you were encountering. Can you talk a little bit about how you stole also the MJ-12 documents and you decided that it was important that the people know about this organization called MJ-12?
Yep. Me and my brothers and sisters, we had just, matter of fact, we were finishing up our colleges. The government was paying for our schooling and everything. And we all graduated. But during the time spans between semesters, if we went out in the field, we were at a place there in Langley, Virginia called the farm. At the farm, we got to see many things that, well, let's just say a lot of people don't even know exist. One of them was the Majestic documents, as we were being showed the things and asked about what took place in Roswell. And myself, my brother Michael, and my other brother Daniel, we decided, the world needs to know this. This is a great, big cover. And all this evidence at the time was on microfiche. Well, we devised a plan within 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm not a thief, but if I find something that belongs to you, I'm going to return it to you. This is the way we were thinking. What we found, we were being showed, belonged to the world, not just the people of the United States, the world. And we got it out of there, the microfiche, and we had somebody that was a former naval intelligence officer, and we contacted him, and he promised us that he would get it to the right people, and he did. And it went through a guy named James Shandera, who gave it, who contacted a guy named Don Erlanger, who was also real close friends with a government contractor named, well, we'll just call him Mr. Freed. And this stuff, we were told where they could pick it up and when to pick it up. And the rest is history. The magic documents showed everything the government knew that took place on July 2nd, 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. And the government still, at that time, denied this ever happened. It was a weather balloon. They came back a few years later and said it was Project Mogul. It's one lie after the other. And now we have came forward and said, here's what happened. Here's what the so-and-so knew. Here's what the Catholic Church knew. And you want proof? You're looking at it. We are the proof. And there's a lot of things concerning Roswell that are starting to come to the surface now. And if we have anything to say with it, everything's going to come to the surface.
Okay, now is it true that during Roswell, a Pleiadian ship was on its way to Earth with, if I understand it correctly, the twins and their mother, their birth mother, and got into a gun battle of some kind or a shooting battle with one of the craft?
This is true. For years, they've only stated that there was one craft that crashed. Well, actually, I have the actual radar logs, and I've got them right here in front of me. I can't get them out of my book, but trust me, I have them. On the night of July 2nd, 1947, the radar unit there in Walker Field picked up 3 bogies, and they were traveling very fast. They were codenamed Fast Walkers. And as most people know the story. There was a thunderstorm north of Roswell, and two saucers jumped the Varana. And there was a dogfight, actually, over the desert. And these crafts were tracked. And the one came down and crashed at the piece that I've showed you. Came down at a site just a little over 22 miles northwest of Roswell, Mexico. And the crash site is advertised today out there is not the crash site. And the Varana spotted about an hour and a half later for parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The very same. And I mean, I have the witnesses, I have the Blue Book documents on it. And this was the craft that brought my twin brothers, who had yet been born, but they brought the birth mother back to Earth.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is there was a dogfight between a Varana, which is one of your triangular craft, is that correct?
That is correct.
And one of these small saucers that was, or you know, three saucers that were driven by the Greys, correct?
There was two saucers. There was three crafts total. The Varana and two saucers.
Oh, okay.
And there was like I said, there was an aerial dogfight going on. I've been asked over the years, okay, if this is the facts, Mr. Page, why did they come over Roswell? Well, you got to understand, out in space, there is wormholes, and these wormholes open up at various places. They couldn't just immediately open, let's say, over New Jersey and bring the twins back or bring their mother back. The wormhole opened somewhere south of Texas, probably over the Mexican desert somewhere. It was estimated, according to the radar logs, that this crash were doing in excess of 3,000 miles per hour. It was probably going a lot faster than that. The events that took place on that night lasted about 3 minutes, and it was over with.
Right. Okay, now what I'd like to do is fast forward to, I guess, the Kennedy assassination, maybe 9/11. You saw 9/11 as well, right?
Yes.
And at that time when you saw 9/11, was that one of the readings you gave? Is that how you revealed it to the CIA?
I don't have the exact date. It was somewhere in 1987, I believe, 88, somewhere in there. I told him I saw the twin sisters. And within these regressions, I said I saw the twin sisters be taken down by the iron birds. And thousands of people will die. This will create the start of the woes of man. And they asked me, what do you mean by the woes of man? So I went to biblical references, and of course, during these regressions, they had people there that was looking at things, taking notes. It was film. When they looked into the book, Revelations, within the Bible, they saw the chapters of the woes of man, and many of them didn't understand it. So after the regression, I explained it to them. And I couldn't say twin sisters were the twin towers, and I couldn't say the planes that took them down were the iron birds I saw. But it was awful strange that everything had happened. And I told them, I said, it will happen within a period of around August to September. They asked me what year, and I said, the man that sits in office soon will know the whole details. Well, during that time, Bill Clinton was the president of the United States. He's one of the reasons I left the agency, because I'm not going to work for a murderer. Saying that very bluntly.
Okay, so in terms of what is coming in the future, the way you see the world, and the Pleiadian relationship to us, and what is kind of like the Dracos, I guess. we have a problem with the Dracos here on Earth, correct?
That is true.
Okay, and do you agree with William Tompkins that that the Pleiadians helped with our secret space program?
Well, I think the secret space program, it ain't no secret. Ronald Reagan was had to develop when he was president, and he was one of my bosses. He just called it Star Wars. It was, well, some of the Star Wars initiative was released a little inaccurately. A lot of the technology has been, let's say, not created by man, but created by our people, has been out there in space for, well, last 10 years. Just for the simple reason is, we know the Dracos, the Draconians, have came back for one purpose and one purpose only, to finish what they started millennia ago.
Okay, and are the Pleiadians planning to help us defend us against an invasion from the Draco when this happens?
Yeah, we protect our children, and that's the way our people look at it. The human race is an extension of the Pleiades culture. There's no telling how many Pleiadian descendants are sitting in that audience right now. But we look at life a lot different than most people do here. We value life. We cherish life. And we will defend our people and our life that we have helped, well, nurture over these past several thousands of years.
Okay, now you live very long lives, right?
Yes.
And you 33 children were brought here to Earth to sort of help, if I understand it correctly, awaken people, but you've kept pretty quiet for most of your years on Earth, and that's been the choice of the CIA and the Vatican, keeping you quiet. Is that correct?
Well, we were hoping that things would progress to a positive nature, and unfortunately, it has actually progressed to a negative nature greatly. We warned back in the 80s. We warned the governments back in the 80s that there will be a time that we're going to all come forth, and you need to start getting all your ducks in order.
Okay, so you warned them back in the 80s that you were going to come forward. So in essence, you're coming forward now. What about the other 32? Are they going to speak to the public like you are?
Yes. I was chosen by the other 32. My father told me I would be the third in the final message, and I was the third child born. Now, I speak for all of us. In fact, before we did this interview today, I got off the phone with Brother Michael, and he told me, speak the truth, speak with your heart. It's the only way we know how to do. You know, if there's a train coming and the lights are flashing, are you going to be brave enough to see if you can outrun it and step across that track? That's what we're saying. The lights are flashing, the bells are ringing. There is a train coming, and it's going to be a train wreck. And if we were not here at this specific appointed time, there wouldn't be much of humanity left. It's all over with.
Okay, are you working with any other races out there besides humanity?
Yes. There's multiple. Within our society, there in the Pleiades, we have what we call a grand council. And people who, there's people in the audience that read the Bible, read Psalms 82. It talks about it. Some of the people over the years have called it the Galactic Federation or whatever. That's a pretty good, I guess, label you could put on it. But we call it the Grand Council. Our Father is a supreme elder within that council. Many of the races within constellations out there, we all live in peace. We help one another. There's no wars. The only thing that is created a war is the Dracos, who started this millennia ago. They just tried to destroy the creation. They tried to destroy humanity. And if we hadn't stepped in, well, we wouldn't be having this talk today.
All right. What about the reptilians?
I almost said a wordy there. Sorry. The reptilians and the Dracos are pretty much a collective of nothing good. Matter of fact, I'll tell you, I use the Bible a lot within my research, in my studies, my talk. The Draconians are mentioned in the biblical record. They are cannibalistic. They are shapeshifters. They are mind controllers. And they will go to the heart of the matter to find the weakest link within society. And once they do that, then they work their way into taking over.
Okay, is it true that the Draco invaded the Anunnaki, which are a break-off group from the Pleiadians, and that they are related to you?
Exactly.
What about we have Simon Parks. I don't know if you know who he is, but he spoke today, and he talked about what he called those from Aldebaran, but he said those are also Pleiadians that broke away.
Well, I don't know what Aldebaran. I probably just messed that word up. We know it as Algoria. And they are part of the Pleiades system. They are very benevolent people, and they're quite large in stature. I think most religious experts would call them the mythical Nephilim. We call them the Algorians.
Okay, but are those the Anunnaki?
Well, the Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki is a specific race of the Algorians. They are tall. Most people would know them as the mythical Nephilim, the giants. They're also known in ancient times as the fallen ones. I don't know where that came from, but they're not fallen. Trust me.
Okay. So in terms of, let's talk a little bit about the Vatican, your attitude towards the Vatican, and how it's been taken over by the Draco.
Well, if you was going to go to let's just say the Church of England, and you go to the Church of England for a service or a gathering or whatever, sitting in the middle of the church is a throne. And let's say you ask the bishop what that throne is, he would tell you it's the throne of Lucifer. Well, if we look at the Vatican as we speak today, outside of St. Peter's Basilica, you see all kind of carvings, stone carvings, dragons and cherubs. And this is supposed to be a holy church, but there's nothing holy about it. And the Vatican has been, well, let's say, one of the big problems over the course of several hundreds of years. And they hold a great secret. And I'll tell you what that secret is. I'm speaking. My brothers and sisters are here. They're speaking. That is a secret. The Vatican knows that. Well, they knew we were coming back. They just didn't know when. And now that we're back, well, you know what? You've got a chance to clean up your act, but they have refused.
So you have a document in which you've written about the Kennedy assassination, and basically you're implicating the Vatican as having made a decision that because he was going to go public, he should be silenced. And I guess that's basically his death warrant. Is that correct?
You are correct. I had, as a little boy, in 1963, I had 3 dreams. They were very lucid and very vivid dreams. I mean, I didn't want to see them, but they came to me. And I told the people that were studying me, teaching me, coming to visit me, I told them what I saw. They just, actually, the second dream was very vivid. I couldn't say where it was at, but I saw a man, a woman in an open car, and I heard 5 loud booms. And I said the man's head exploded. Well, the third dream was quite vivid. It was almost like I was in that car myself. And I told him that the man that I saw, I believe, is the U.S. president. Well, they knew his itinerary in 1963, and they just passed it off as a childhood imagination. But when it happened on November 22nd, 1963, it was about 6 hours later, I was taken to a nice facility, and they wanted to know more about my dreams. I'll tell you, your people, I saw President Kennedy 4 days before they was murdered. I come to find out years later when I went to the agency that Kennedy had a date set for March 10th, 1964. He was going to address the United Nations and show the world what took place in Roswell, why it took place, and explain these 33 children that are here. And he was also going to denounce his Roman Catholic faith. None of this has ever come out. It is in the Kennedy files, though. And to this day, President Kennedy is the only Roman Catholic president this country has ever had. And he was a very good man, very knowledgeable man, and he was freed not only by Harry S. Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower. President Kennedy, when he was a congressman, met with my father and understood a lot of things. And unfortunately, the people behind Kennedy's murder were also hired government agents who were also being paid by the Vatican, like Lamar Hunt. Did I say Lamar Hunt?
Right. What about Bobby Kennedy?
Well, this is another thing that's never told. Bobby Kennedy was about to become the next vice president of the United States. And the people in this country loved Kennedy. He was a very wise and a very personality type individual. He was a president for the people. He also was looked upon by many world leaders, including the Soviets. I mean, Khrushchev, for example, that this is a man that means what he says, and you really don't want to cross him. So, you know, if he's holding the big stick, I want to be on his side. Khrushchev was one of them leaders, world leaders, that met with Thor in 1958. And Kennedy was going to, well, he was being reelected. He was a shoo-in. He was one of the most popular presidents we've ever had in America. Him and Lyndon Baines Johnson were not very good as a team. It was already noted that Johnson would not be his vice president on his second term, that the Attorney General, Robert Kennedy, would be the new vice president. Unfortunately, well, you know what happened in history.
So, so the person who killed him, was he set up as a patsy?
Oswald, excuse me, Lee Harvey Oswald never pulled the trigger. It's funny that he was found in a movie theater, and he had a ticket where he was at that movie theater roughly 20 minutes before the shots rang out across Dealey Plaza. Yet, Oswald belonged to a communist group, sympathized with the Soviets and the Cubans, and so this man, we will put the blame on him. That's basically what has happened.
Okay, but I meant Bobby Kennedy. Like, who killed him? You know, who arranged that?
I'm pretty sure the same people that arranged for JFK to be assassinated. Bobby Kennedy was going to be the next U.S. president also. I mean, he was already getting ready to accept the Democratic nomination. Bobby Kennedy knew a lot of things. And was he going to do it? I would like to think he was. I never saw any evidence, but Bobby Kennedy had been talking something like 5 days prior to his murder with Catholic priests from Vatican City.
All right. So now you know that we've had in essence, when Kennedy was taken down, that's like a coup. That was like a military coup. And now we've got Trump in office, right?
Yeah, we do.
And the military support him. A certain portion of the military, I believe, a certain portion of the Navy, I've been told by whistleblowers, got him into office. What do you think about that?
Well, that's a good question. How would I answer that? The biggest portion of the military budget every year goes to the United States Navy to maintain the ships, the fleet, aircraft, paper. Now, that includes the Marine Corps. So, yeah, I think the Navy would support Trump. There's people inside the Pentagon that do not wish to support Trump. You know, what I think about Donald Trump, I think he's got his heart's in the right place, but he's fighting an uphill battle. I don't think he'll ever get the wall built, like we need a wall. But I don't think Trump's ever going to get the swamp completely drained either. There are some bad people in Washington, D.C. And sadly, well, these people have to go.
Okay, now there's a big problem with pedophilia, child trafficking, and the people at the top in Washington and in the British government, right, are very, very involved in this. The Dark Magicians, you're aware of the Dark Magicians, the P2 Lodge, right?
Exactly.
So I would say this has to do with the sort of invasion of the reptilian Draco Alliance into basically humans on planet Earth. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But there's much more to the story. We go back again to the Bible, where these draconians, the gods of Allah, were being fed children. Like I said, the draconians are cannibalistic. They look at the human species as part of the menu. Now, within the book that me and J.P. Rose have co-authored, we talk about, I guess 3, 5, and 6,000 children in this country go missing every year. Well, who's feeding who? And I know, Carrie, you told me that that was kind of inaccurate. I appreciate your sincerity. it probably is higher. That came from, I think, a 2015 survey by the FBI. Where do these children go? And we find out that many U.S. politicians have been involved with these pedophile rings, sex slave actors. And people can ask me, well, your species loves humanity. You created humanity. Why are you going to destroy humanity? I'm not destroying humanity. Humanity is destroyed its own self. And these sex traffickers and these creatures of opportunity have created this for humanity to be a part of. It's wrong. It goes against everything of nature. And it goes against the laws that was given to man thousands of years ago.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, is there anything that you're going to be disclosing in the near future? Not sure how you're going to do it other than publishing your book, but I don't think your book even contains all the stuff you could talk about. So are you going to, can you reveal some things here today that nobody knows about, that you and I haven't even talked about? Is there anything you would like to tell this? You know, this is a unique situation. Eddie, is there anything that you want to say that hasn't been said yet? This is your opportunity. This is a very select audience. We will put this out on the internet with your permission after it's recorded. But you've got an audience here that's listening to you. What would you like to say?
You know, you might see something. Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe don't talk so loud. Maybe don't emphasize your words so much. Back a little bit away, but continue, please.
If the people are privy to see one of our crafts, and a lot of people over in have seen our Varanas, it's nothing to be afraid of. What you need to be afraid of if you see a saucer. These saucers belong to the Zeta Grays, who are servitude to the Draconians. There's many governments, including in Europe and especially Great Britain, that knows about this truth that I'm sharing. I wrote an article, or actually I wrote a lengthy article back in the 90s called America Babylon. And within that article, I said that her mother watched her daughter burn. The mother of this nation is none other than Great Britain. And that cannot be denied. And when I say that her mother watched this nation burn, well, the dragon is awake. That dragon is Yellowstone. You people in the UK, there's nothing you can do to change what is coming. The only thing I can say is stay focused, be vigilant, and watch for many things to take place within the next 2 to 3 years. That dragon is awake, and that dragon is getting ready to roar. Now, you may hear a loud boom, sound like a sonic boom. It will rattle. I will guarantee this. It's going to rattle your windows no matter where you're at. It's going to cause multiple communication problems. When you hear that boom, you hear that communication system, whatever kind of phone you got, internet, whatever, it's going to be disrupted. When you witness this, know that the dragon is roaring. This country, I love this country. And most of the people in this country are very, very good and loving people. But we've got a very corrupt political system in this We've also got a very uneasy calm in this country right now. Race relationships have basically tanked. Violence in this nation is, I don't care what the media says, but the violence in this country is phenomenal. It all has to stop. And that's what the dragon is going to do, stop it. There's going to be a lot of bad things take place. But I can give you the beautiful thing of it. But once it's all done and said, man is going to witness something very beautiful. Our Father coming back for one. But this world is going to be handed the keys to the universe. We won't have to worry about all the corruptness and the evil and the murders and, well, because somebody's different than you. Everybody will live as it was intended to be thousands of years ago. The Draconians will no longer be around permanently. Religion, as you know it, will not be around as most know it. And everything that was intended to be good shall be. The only thing I can say is love that person next to you. Love your family. Love your kids. And cuddle them. And tell them you love them. Look them in the eyes. Let them see that heart that you're sharing. The bottom line is, people are going to need to unite as one. We didn't come back here just because, well, McDonald's is running a Happy Meal special today. We're back here to help people. And now that we're talking and exposing that we've been here for a long time, and guess what? Your religion knew it. Your world leader knew it. It's probably the greatest story that's never been told. And why wasn't it told? Because it was purposely hidden.
Okay.
I have an old saying, people. Love is the greatest gift that you can give to anybody. Give freely.
Okay, thank you for that. Can you tell me something about the financial system? Is the financial system going down? And also 5G. A lot of people are very worried about the advent of 5G.
Well, if you don't have a financial system, you take away corruption, you take away greed. Where we come from, we don't have money as most people, the pound or the dollar or the won or whatever. No, we don't have that. Everybody has access to everything because we share everything. The 5G network, as you're talking about, I think this is something of, I don't see nothing good coming from it. And really, to be honest with you, I have not even focused on the 5G because, like I said, when Dragon roars, most communication around the world is going to disappear.
All right. You act as though the volcanism, the around the earth, it's not just Yellowstone, it's actually volcanoes around the world that are becoming a lot more active. The reason for this, you believe, is Wormwood. You call it Wormwood, is a incoming planet. Is there a link up with the Draco and the volcanism?
Well, the reason I focus most of my attention on Yellowstone is because it is the most deadliest. It is also the largest caldera in the world. Now, Wormwood, it is a system that is approaching, but it's not the system that most people think it is. And this is the system of the arrival of the Draconians. The Sumerians called it Nabaru, or the winged Dragon, the winged planet. It's not going to crash into Earth. It is bringing back something very nasty. This is the first pretense of Draconian's arrival.
Okay, if I understand what you're saying the beings that are on Nibiru, I assume there's beings on that. And actually, I've heard it's a planetoid. It's hollow. They travel inside it. What kind of beings are these? Is this the Anunnaki, or is this those from Aldebaran, or is this another race of beings that we're not familiar with?
Well, my understanding, as we are told, Nibiru, I call it Nibiru. It is a hollow planet. It is a Death Star. And if we look back at the ancient teachings of the Sumerians, when Nibiru approaches, bad things happen. We're seeing bad things happen now. Why doesn't NASA say it's for real? Why does the European Space Agency say it's real? Yet we've got people in China and Russia saying it's real. So you see, you got one pushing and one pulling, but nobody's getting nowhere. The Anunnaki are part of the Palladian structure. The Anunnaki did not come from Nibiru. The Palladians tell us this. Nibiru is known by the Hebrew teachings as wormwood, the bitter planet. And if you understand what wormwood means in Hebrew, it means something bitter.
Okay, so you haven't quite answered my question about the beings inside.
Yeah, they're the Draconians, Carrie.
Oh, they are. All right. Okay, so I guess, I don't know, what time is it? It's 6? Okay. So at this point, it's past 6. All right. Everyone's been here all day long listening to people. And so you're our last speaker of the day. So I want to thank you so much, Eddie, for doing this with us. I do have people here in the audience. I do want to give them a chance. We'll take 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Is that all right with you?
That'd be fine, Carrie.
All right. So 1 or 2 very good questions, okay? Not superficial, not obvious, something good. All right? Okay.
All right.
You're the first one. Okay, he wants to know, what is the timeline for the pole shift?
That's a very, very good question. We are watching the pole shift, and the pole shift is occurring. It's not going to be a flip of the planet, as most people think, but it does mean that the pole shift is occurring right now. And when will it be complete? We don't know. That is a very good question. I wish I could give you a straightforward answer, but I can tell you one thing. Probably within the next 2 to 3 years, again, the communications and many GPS and tracking systems right now are in haywire. They're having to readjust them monthly.
Okay, one more question. All right, and you have a good question, right? I'm sorry? Chernobyl. All right, do you know anything about Chernobyl in Russia?
It was a nuclear disaster. That land there in... Excuse me?
Okay, why don't we expand that question a little bit to Fukushima and all the nuclear disasters that are happening right now around the Earth, ones that are not being reported, leaks of nuclear stations, etc. You're aware of these?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so during a pole shift, during Earth changes, I'm told that this is going to make things a lot worse. Is that your understanding?
Well, if it ain't corrected or taken over, it will make things worse. I will tell you this. I can't help myself sometimes. My sister always tells me not to answer a question with a question, so I'm trying my best not to. When the earth does change, and there will be changes coming, nuclear fissionable energy and weapons will no longer exist. The areas that have been contaminated, such as Chernobyl, Fukushima, and there's one over in, I think, Germany that is leaking. These areas will be cleaned up. They will be cleaned up. But nuclear energy is soon to be a thing of the past.
Okay, who's going to clean up those places?
We are.
The Pleiadians. Yeah?
Exactly.
In other words, your technology, is that what you're saying, your technology?
Exactly. You see, to make a long story short, my father brought a energy-free society technology to this planet back in 1957. It was offered. Nothing to do with nuclear fission or any type of nuclear power. We call it Iranian energy. It's energy that is free and abundant in space. With amplifiers and collectors, you can draw this energy out of space, out of the atmosphere, and use it. I mean, it's pollutant-free, it's non-hazardous, and matter of fact, people don't realize that you walk in Iranian energy every day. It's called argon.
I agree with that one. All right. Well, everyone, that's it. I guess we're going to say goodbye to Eddie for now. I'll have him back on the show whenever possible. Please give him your warm thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eddie. You take care.
All right, Carrie, you be safe, and I'll see you when you get back.
All right, very good. Take care. Bye-bye.